Angelo Ellerbee has been well known in the music industry as a contemporary to industry legend, Berry Gordy. He has had experiences with many artists, such as Mary J. Blige, Alicia Keys, Dionne Warwick, and even individuals that are well known to our community, such as DMX and some other outstanding music leaders like Roberta Flack and Nina Simone. He's had a pretty interesting relationship in terms of building the kind of profiles that are really important to image making. And I'm proud to be able to have an opportunity to sit down with the image maker.
It's my pleasure.
Mr. Ellerbee, thank you so
my
much.
Pleasure. It is indeed my pleasure.
At least giving me an opportunity to build a strong relationship with someone who is doing something in the mainstream, which is very important, and especially to individuals who are gifted and talented and who have had experience with you. I've heard so much about you. I've been working with individuals like Teresa Randolph and, a number of people that really know about your style, your class, and you have a lovely home.
Thank you.
And I see that, it's really modern. You like to use a lot of products that really pop, really give you the kind of opportunity to say, that's really some classy stuff. Is this the type of way in which you have always had your life?
I must say yes. I come from the richest city in the world, which is Newark, New Jersey. And I was governed and reared by an incredible, incredible lady, my mother, by the name of Eva Ellerbee. She gave me those survival tools. She gave me and she fed me a menu of life at a very early age. And she always wanted me to be great. She spoke that every single day. I don't want you just to get by. I don't want you just to walk by. I want you to be great wherever your presence is. And so at a very young age, I thought I was great. I grew up being great in my mind. While others didn't see my greatness, I saw my greatness. And I magnified it by my surroundings of having a mother who educated me, stimulated me, and motivated me, and more importantly, loved me unconditionally. And so therefore, you find the fineries out in life by going through what you go through. My mom had an 8th grade education and was a waitress for a living. I never knew I was poor. I never knew anything about being poor. All I know is I got a haircut every week and I wore suits to school from age 1 to about the 6th grade. And she did what she had to do. And in that, she taught me the importance of me doing what I have to do. Never say what you want. Never say what you want. Always go after and get it. You must claim victory. And in claiming victory, you learn and you experience. She said, I don't care how many times you fall down. I care about the times you get back up. I care about the times that you continue to do what you set your goal to do. And so at a very early age, growing up in the city of Newark, where things were not a cultural experience, it was very hard and very difficult in the 60s and the 70s of growing up and having people to understand life, lifestyles, what you do and what you don't do, and conforming to it. She said, go to New York City. Go to Philadelphia. Here's some money to get on the train. Go do you. That was the kind of teaching that I had. And all of my success, however you want to count my success or see it, it is a contribution, a wealthy contribution of my mother, Eva Ellerbee, who gave me the freedoms to be me. And as long as I accepted my mom and my mom accepted me, we were partners in crime. We were partners in educating me and making me aware of all the great things that God had provided for me. And stop with becoming accusatory as to why I can't be great.
Looking at it in relationship to understanding the influence of your mother and building the kind of reputation that you have, how did you really get to the point where you were able to share it with others?
I'm going to be very honest and very direct with you. Several years ago, I lost my fortune. I lost about $6 million in my life. It was my fortune. And in that, I was working for a gentleman by the name of DMX and invested into several films, and the returns were not what they were supposed to be. And I'm accustomed to living a certain way of living. You know, I'm accustomed to having a driver, and I'm accustomed to a lot of things. And I remember one day calling my mother up on the phone because at that time my office was on 7th Avenue and 54th Street, and it was very difficult. There were 17 employees, and I said to her, I said, I have nothing anymore. And she says, you know, I'm cooking my greens. What you calling me with this mess for? What are you talking about? I said, well, Mom, you know, I lost this. She said, okay, how did you get it? How'd you get that? Right. She said, shut it down, go find someplace else, and start all over again. And my greens are burning, and I got to go.
Wow.
That reality is the reality that I lived with all my life. She didn't want me to sit back and feel sorry for myself. So I'm in a rebuilding stage. But you know the wonderful thing about God and the wonderful thing about falling romantically in love with you is that you can endure and you can't do it. So you fall down. So you lost that. Who cares? Nobody cares but you. So now you got to go and reclaim this victory that you won so many, many years ago. And he's been good. He's been very, very good. The same energy and the same vigor that I had when I was a teenager growing up in this city, I still have it today. And so I keep my eyes on the prize, and there is ever, never, never no failures. There are setbacks, there are experiences, and I claim victory, and so you rebuild the empire that you once had. And don't sit back and become accusatory and say, that investor told me to do this. No. At the end of the day, you have to be responsible for your actions. Thus, I'm responsible for my reactions and the things that I've done and the money that I've lost and the things that have gone wrong in my life. It's no one else's problem. It's mine. And so I had to rebuild, and I'm rebuilding and almost at that line again.
Well, you know, we're looking at some of the individuals that you have had influences with, such as Mary J. Blige, and, you know, individuals, Michael Jackson, who have had some really bad situations in their lifestyles and were able to overcome that. Was your inspiration helpful?
My inspiration to my clients, I would hope is helpful to them or was helpful to them, but I find that it was very helpful to me. I've learned self-preservation must come first. You must come first. When you get on that plane and that attendant says to you, we may have turbulence, and in that, masses are going to fall. Don't put it on your mother, don't put it on your brother, put it on yourself. Because you can only help someone when you have helped yourself. So my medicine, I didn't give it out to my clients. I had to take it 3 times a day.
Wow.
And I had to grow up with it first. I had to see if it was going to heal me. So in healing me, it can heal them. Now I'm romantically in love with me. Now I can share my love. Now I can share my dose of medicine of what got me through. And so yes, I share it. But I think first I have to take that medicine first.
What are the steps you're taking to now rebuild your industry?
Oh my God. I am now looking at authoring my books, a series of books, a series of artist development tapes, my reality show, hopefully for Bravo. I'm working with a wonderful guy by the name of John Mark Sanford, who has come into my life and made an extraordinary difference in me with regards to me understanding who I am and what I bring to the table and my worth of it all. And he has come up with a program called Welcome Home, Mr. Ellerbee. And what it is very much to what I've been doing my whole entire life. But instead of conditioning it and targeting it to a recording artist, it's for the layperson as well. It is where I go into people's homes and I stay and I live in their environments for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. If it's a tenement, if it's a drug, whatever it is, I go there. And I talk to the parents, I live with them, I go to hang on the corners. I do all of what I need to do in order to understand the subject matter.
Going back to the roots.
Going back to the roots and then solving the problem. It's almost like the nanny show, where the nanny comes in and she assesses the home or the environment, the persons, the personalities, and comes up with a solution to the problem. And thus, that's one of the things that I'm working on. I just started a speaking tour. I was down at Berkeley School of the Performing Arts about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I'm now asking to become maybe a professor, an adjunct professor, where I would go and teach and educate kids just about the awareness of it all, of the music industry. But my energies is very much into people who look like me.
Mm-hmm.
I really would like to design programs, inner city programs, that will educate young people about how to get a job.
Mm-hmm.
I think in this day and time, we forget the mannerisms or the wherewithals as to how to claim victory in getting our jobs or getting an employment, and how to work our degrees, how to best utilize our degrees. So many times people say that you have to have a business plan in order to open up a business, and you have to have this, and you got to have this, and you got to have that. And you know, if I would have sat back and listened to the banks and the loan officers, I would never been in business. I had to listen to my inner self, and I had to listen to my mother and say, if this is what you want to do, you better go out there and hustle at what you need to do. And get.
Now, looking at it, you know, from that opportunity that you have now, you have been able to work with a number of new artists and involving yourself. And there has been some that are really interested in coming back into the industry. What has been the delight in regard to putting those new brains, those new ideas into focus?
You know, I'm going to be so direct and very honest with you. I enjoy working for that newcomer, that new kid on the block, more than I do the veteran, more than I do that accomplished songwriter or that performer, only because I get a chance to raise them. I get a chance to mold them. I get a chance to create and give them what I spell out and define as longevity. I think in this day and time, we're looking at a microwave society where our kids are growing up and they're not being children and they're not being young adults. They want to be that adult. So I have time to spend with these young artists in molding them and shaping them. You know, I'm no one's judge or jury about talent, as much as people will think that I am. I'm not. I go into teaching and educating them. You know, if you can't sing, well, in this day and time, who's singing? Okay, so we need to take you to a voice coach. You can't dance, and I need to take you to a choreographer, a good stylist, I can create all of those things. But you own your talent, and you have to perfect it. Then the other side of it is once you get to the apex of your success, do you keep it? Do you know what it is about having a business manager? Do you know what it is about selecting the right manager? Do you know what it is about publishing your splits, BMI, ASCAP, Warner Chappell? All of these things you need to know about because it's your money. You know, when people say to me, my manager, well, what you doing with a manager? Why you gotta have a manager? Why don't you learn the importance of managing yourself? Then you can go out and find that manager that can take you to the next level. The boy next door cannot get you to the apex of your success. So in selecting that manager, you want to find out the qualifications of a manager, his associations, his alignments. Can he really do something for me? And don't go into no long-term agreements. Go into short-term agreements. It is almost like falling in love. It's almost like having a relationship. Well, I don't want to, if it's someone that I'm interested in, I want to have a courtship, then I want to have a relationship, then I want to have an engagement, and then I'll marry.
Wow. You know, Mr. Ellerbee has nearly single-handedly worked to convert those who imitate the worst that the entertainment industry has to offer into a well-groomed, well-spoken ambassador of decorum and refinement. He has been very successful in dealing with it from the perspective of being able to change initially your concept of how you want to deal with it from a perspective of identifying it as a global issue, changing the world. And you want to make people look good. And from your knowledge and experiences, what you're sharing with us is that you actually know just where everything is needed to be placed when it comes down to being successful.
Yeah.
Where are those types of professionals now today?
They're around.
They are.
They're absolutely around. You know, with the demise of the music industry, 10 years ago we had 20 major record labels. Today we have 3. So when you're cutting back in this economic time, they seem to cut out some of the more important areas of concentration for an artist, which is always artist development for me. You know, when we talk about Berry Gordy and then we talk about Marvin Gaye and we talk about the Supremes, then we have to talk about Chris Brown and then we have to talk about Kanye West. And when I make those comparisons to the point that you cannot lead your fans to the water and then drown them. You cannot become abusive to a female by popping her, hitting her, scratching her, doing whatever you want to do, and then come back out and sing a love song. Okay, so where does it begin? Does it begin in the home? Does it begin with the manager? Does it begin with educating them about how you deal with it? And then you have a forgiving public that forgave you. And then you come back on national television and you throw chairs out of windows and you don't want to answer people's question. You must remember that the fan pays the mortgage. And if you are not complimentary to your journalist, who is your wagon train and your source of information, you destroy yourself all over again. So I have problems when the new comes in and you want to excuse the old. Artist development is so very important that you keep the old, reinvent something that maybe you want to change in what is old, but you got to do a collaboration. You can't take Kanye West and use that as an example of what it is to be a hip-hop artist. Let's just talk about the setback of my people for so many years. Hip-hop, I fought along with Dionne Warwick and Dolores C. Tucker about clean lyrics 25 years ago. At the end of the day, you have someone like Kanye who's going to get on the stage, who's been walking around with a Hennessy bottle all day long, and you're going to get up and disturb the audience because you're drunk. And now people are looking at hip-hop and all the contributions that it has made over the years as just this buffoonery all over again. So we must begin to understand and be responsible for our actions. We cannot allow our artists to go out and just destroy the structures in which everyone cemented. Berry Gordy cemented it. You know, Diana Ross, the Supremes, the Dionne Warwicks. We cemented a foundation of appreciation for our work and our work craft. Let's just follow that. So we must understand the importance of getting to the point of longevity. We cannot just play. This industry is not a part-time industry. I don't like instant coffee. I like brewed coffee. I like things that are going to last a long time. I like things that's going to taste good, feel good about how I go to approach it.
Quality etiquette, and looking at it from your business, Double Exposure. When you started Double Exposure, was it really an approach to be specifically involved with artist development?
No, not at all. I mean, the principle of my firm is publicity. We are a PR firm. And strangely enough, how I got to even get involved, my degree is in fashion design. I have nothing to do when it comes to an educational side of the music industry. I design clothes. I worked for Saint Laurent and Givenchy, a lot of leading designers. I used to do fashion shows in the city of Newark for about 17 years as fundraisers. People came in magnitudes to see these shows because they were, one, quite entertaining. They were different. They weren't out of the norm. I brought in a Beverly Johnson or Iman's or the Alvin Ailey dancers to this great city. And I think that the people who attended had an enjoyment because it was something that they never saw before. So we brought that in there. And then I met this gentleman by the name of James Mtume. His wife was a designer. She traveled my shows yearly and came to me and asked me if I would consider to do an album cover with her. And I said, Camille, I don't even understand what are you talking about? She says, no, I want you to style. Okay, so, you say like get the clothes and that kind of thing there. But she was a designer, so we helped each other in terms of concepts of how we wanted to see the album cover. And Mtume came to me and said, if you can do all these things for Camille and all these things, why don't you manage me?
Wow.
Manage you? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Mr. Juicy Fruit himself.
Mr. Juicy Fruit, Mr. Killing Me Softly, Mr. Yeah. It was like, how what is a manager? What I don't understand. And the thing that I love so much about him, and I call him my father hero, because my father never played a important role in my life. So Ntume, for many years, was that father image or that major uncle image. He would possibly kill me if he heard me say father. But he would send me over to Sony Records each and every single day, 5 days out of the week. And I would tell these people who did not look like me, that I was Ntume's manager. Well, they knew that I was green. They knew that I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. And every day, just like going to school, I had to come back to Ntume and tell him everything of what I said and what. Well, these people had called him before I got back to New Jersey and said, "You sure this is the manager?" Well, he trained me so well, and he's such an astute individual. He made you learn, and I went back in. And then I started to get it. Slowly but surely, I started to get it. And then I started to run his company called Iflan and produce albums with him for Tawatha and the New Romance Crew, and about maybe 10 or 11 albums underneath the Sony system. And that's how I began to get into the music industry, was in Ntume. They gave me my break and is giving me my Social Security benefits at this point because of the music industry. It is James Ntume who started me in music. And I then, when I got to the point that I thought I had it, I wanted to go and create what would be my own. I worked for him for 5 or 6 years. And the great thing that I want to tell young people is that you cannot be too proud. I was the babysitter for Ntume. I was the nanny. I was the cook. I was the driver. I was everything. And it didn't matter about dollars and cents. It mattered about opportunity. It mattered that I was going to get myself in there doing what I didn't necessarily want to do, but learn the importance of doing and having the difference of understanding that I have to. Life is a variety. It's not one thing. You have to learn many things. And so he taught me the importance. And then the first year I worked for him, he was scoring a major motion picture called The Native Son that starred Oprah Winfrey.
Okay. And
I got a chance to meet and work with James Baldwin, and I got a chance with Richard Wright and Oprah Winfrey, and it went on and on and on and on. Who would think and who would imagine that would come from that kind of association? So when these kids come into my office and they want to intern, I make them work.
Wow.
And you're not sitting here playing no music and taking my CDs out of the door. You gotta work. It's what you put in, is what you get out. Right. It's called goods for services and services for goods. No goods, you get no service from me.
Speaking of James Ntume and many of the things that he has been doing in relationship to, he's literally on a rampage to really change the paradigm that's going on in our communities with the killings and the things that are going on. Have you really adopted the same approach when it comes to etiquette in the music business?
Very much. As I said to you, he is very much my father, very much my uncle. And I do walk, not beside him, but I do walk behind him and trying to make change the way that he is globally, trying to make my steps in another direction. I think that it becomes important that as adults that we become responsible for our children. I remember growing up, and it's not that long ago, that I can remember that when my mother would take us down North Carolina each and every single summer, why was my grandmother there watching over us? It was really a community watching over us. And it was a community that cared about our well-being and where we went and what we walked with and who we were with. I think that is instilled in me to this day. That is my way of living life. I think that everybody is responsible for God's work and His Word. I don't care what your religion is. At the end of the day, it's God. And we must follow and be suppliers to His work and His Word. And if He took the time to share His work and word, and we sit up and we pray and we ask Him for all these things, the effort would be is to share His work and word. And so absolutely, I cannot be selfish to think that this is about me. It's about a legacy, and it's about touching another life, and it's about getting young people to understand that you're not going to be young always, that you do get older. You think you got by because you got a pretty face? Well, the face goes away. And then where's the intellect? Where's the intelligence? Where is the know-how? You got to begin as an adult. And we understand the conditions of our children today. we still got to get through those hard, thick heads because we were the same way, and let them know you must begin to prepare your life for winning results. And that means you have to give concentration, and you have to stay focused and keep your eyes on the prize to win at the end of the day. Until no one can tell you that you're not great.
And it's interesting, focusing on the kind of ability that is necessary for many of the individuals who are in the industry to become successful and excel. We're here with Angelo Ellerbee, the chairman of the board and chief executive officer of Double Exposure, which is a media relations firm. And Mr. Ellerbee, it's really talking about the nuance of a lot of the issues, as we say, in terms of self-control, because it's not a hip-hop problem. It's not a problem with the artists that are really coming up, that are young. You have a number of older individuals who have transcended into trying to make the money for the industry. Do you really clearly see an objective that is necessary to find ways in which we can be able to share the right types of experiences with the individuals who are going down the wrong path, to let them know that just because you can do it don't necessarily mean it's the right thing to do?
Well, you know what? I speak publicly about Kanye West and Chris Brown and Mary, and the list goes on, not because I am trying to beat them up, but they become examples. They become examples for young people. They become examples as to how you go to apply yourself, that you can be winners. I also want people to know that these young artists are also fallible. They make mistakes, and I want you to see the mistakes they have made. I want you to learn by my mistakes that I've made. I want you to learn by the mistakes that these artists make. There is no perfect individual, and if it is, I want to run away from it, because that means my time has come. At the end of the day, for me, I think that you have to do the job of a parent, even though you're not a parent. I think you have to lay down foundations for our children. We have to let them know that they cannot be afraid. You got to put yourself out there. When I travel back now to the city of Newark, and I see that the energy and the level of commitment is just not there, when I go inside of the schools and I see that it's not there, it tells me that it's a community that is crying for help, and that is crying to be embraced, and is crying to be a part of something. We have to begin with our homes and our broken homes and our young mothers that are having babies, and the kids are. We got to begin at the beginning, so that we can't start raising our kids at 15 years old. We got to start raising them from the beginning stages. We have to begin to understand that, yes, entertainment and music is one thing, but the education is the most important thing. They can't take education from us. So while you want to be this and you want to be that, you got to have the survival tools. And the survival tools is the education, the know-how to mess with the mind, to mess with the bigger picture of the things that are going on in this world. Those things over there, those things are not that important for me. It may be important for them, but I think before you begin in this, you just need to know more about just life experiences. I don't shut people down because they've been in prison. I don't shut them down, and I give them a job. I give them a job because I do believe in change. I do believe in falling down and getting up. I do believe in people saying, well, Angela, it's hard, man. I don't have my degree. I don't have my. Well, let's begin at the beginning. Do you have your GED? You don't have your GED? Let's sit at this computer. Let's read. Let's understand what took place, because there's so many disadvantages in life and growing up, because we don't have our parents, we don't have our father, we don't have this, or environments are dictative to our person and our personality. And so a lot of times when you can't get up out of these urban cities and go and experience life, you get stuck thinking that what you see that guy over there doing is what you need to do to get through. I'm not that old that I don't understand what people do and not working a 9 to 5. All right, so they got that hustle on. You gotta focus on those things that has winning results.
Wow. Discrimination is not really black and white. It really, it looks in terms, right, and it really has an effect on the environment, and as you're saying, the institution of family, and knowing how to be able to reflect upon those kinds of influences. In many aspects, a number of the artists that really go out and do things on their own are looking for that kind of opportunity. You being there is really an advantage for them. How do we effectively get them to find out how important your responsibility is to them?
You know, I really wish that I can really answer that. I think trial by error. I think falling down. I think going through thought moments. Depression seems to always get us to want to think a little bit quicker, a little bit faster, and more positive about things. I think that we have been cheated out of so much with regards to getting to that computer and using our resources and turning on not just the 106 and Park channel, but turning on the History channel and turning on those news channels so that we can become more informed just about life and economy and things that are affecting us. And while we can't make the kind of educational moves or be able to pay for the educational moves, I just think that sometimes, at least let me speak for me, when I am in a stage in my life where I'm in a mode of thought, I can reach out a little bit more. When I believe that there's no more for me, I get angry and I want to get more. That's the mode I'm in now. I'm in that mode now. Now I'm in the mode of, you know, at 53 years old, I'm saying, oh no. They say, Angelo's OG. Angelo's an OG. And I'm like, who you talking about? Right. No, because Angelo ain't no OG. Right. In my mind, I'm young. You know, I'm accessible, and I'm, you know, I'm current. You know, I'm stylish, and I'm, you know, but you know, it's 36 years. I'm still there. Right. I've learned the importance of communicating with young people. You know, my office is full of the Cynthias and the Carlins and the Mary Mo. I have a combination of them, all kinds of people who work for me. They got to keep me young. And that's how I think that everyone has to have an experience point of going out there and not being afraid. We are afraid. Why are we afraid? Why are we afraid to be great? Why are we afraid to claim our victory? We get into a mode at a certain age of life and we believe that we've reached there. No, we can never stop learning. We can never stop having enough. We can never stop sharing enough. I get so upset when people, I'm 60 years old and what? You can go back to school. You can get your education. You can go out here and make a difference because you are. And I get to a point, it gets to a point in my life that becomes so frustrating that people are giving up on them. And I can't give up on them.
Wow. You know, taking down barriers and eliminating fear. You know, you have been really open in talking about alternative lifestyles and being able to objectively make it clear that it is, you know, something that politically can be discussed in forums that really bring about need for understanding. With that kind of an understanding of the relationship, is it necessary that people need to be identified for their personal...
Well, you know, I'm going to be so very frank and very honest with you. For me, yes.
And why is that?
Because I believe that freedom is not on strike, and neither is the truth. And I'm not going to live a lie. I'm not going to have you guessing about who I am. I'm going to tell you who I am because I'm proud of who I am. Because I have contributions that I've made, contributions that I want to know. I grew up in the city of Newark, and I grew up in a time where my life or lifestyle was not so accepted. I recently in the last 2 or 3 years, the city of Newark hung a gay flag at City Hall. They were honoring the contributions of gay people that came from the city.
Right, and you spoke there.
I spoke there. Right. And I was very disturbed and I was very upset that after all of my contributions into this great city and all of the things that I have done for the residents of the city, that I was not appreciated. For me, it was... I made contributions to break barriers in the city. And now they're going to honor me, and now they're going to look at my lifestyle as being of importance in the largest city in the state of New Jersey. Not a mayor, not a councilman, came out to support it. I don't know if it was that they didn't want to be in that environment.
Do you think it was necessary for them to honor you because of your lifestyle?
I think it was necessary for them to honor me because of my contribution.
Right.
And because there has been so many young people in the city of Newark that has the same lifestyle with AIDS and the numbers of AIDS and the addiction. Yeah, I kind of think that we can no longer close our eyes to what is a part of our life and our communities. People are living in the city of Newark, and they're not all heterosexuals. We have a strong number of African Americans and Latinos that are living in the city of Newark that are gay, that are HIV positive. Yeah, and we have to identify with that, or there would be a problem. They would start to die. What's the problem? We're all God's children. We're all walking and we're talking. And why can't we be boisterous about who we are as individuals? Do we go around and say that we're black Muslims? Do we go around and say that we're Jews? Do we go around and say that we're Latinos? We're very proud of our heritage. And so we're proud of our life and our lifestyles as well. And that's the only time that I take offense to people not embracing the challenges of other people's lives. I have a problem with it.
I quote, and you know what separates me from most, he asked. I care. There are people out here who try to imitate what I do, but they do it without any real concern. Is your passion really about being sincere?
My passion has always been about being sincere. For 36 years, that has been my soul train. My soul train has gone through city to city, has gone from country to country with my sincerity. And every stop in my life that I've made, it has been sincere. Now, it can be misunderstood because the first thing that I am is a businessman. I'm not going to win any kind of popularity contest because I'm a businessman. The other side of it is that I give out tough love. And some people can misinterpret my tough love. I want you to win, no matter what. Maybe you don't understand my conditions or my way of doing things. But at the end of the day for me, and as time has gone on, I have gotten letters from employees and people that I meet daily thanking me for something that maybe mama and daddy didn't teach us, or that our community didn't teach us, that I took the time to teach them. I understand the importance of winning in white America. And if somebody can tell me where on the map globally that there's a black America, then I'm going to go over there. But for now, my mother told me, when you go to Rome, you do what Romans do, right? You're in America, you're going to do what they do. And I want to adjust people's lifestyle to think that there is a difference in communities, pigmentation, people. I just want them to adapt to it and understand it and know it so that they can have the same kind of winning qualities.
Your concern for being spiritual, your respect for God, it inundates a number of things that you do. Was this always the focus when you were younger?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. My mother taught us very early in our lives the power of God. And you needed no one but you and him. She instilled in me the importance of sharing your life and sharing what God has given to you. And as I've grown up, I've shared that with my 3 boys because it's important. It's my savior. When I went through my financial loss, when I went through the loss of my children, it was only him and I who fought this world. It's only me and him now that fight this world. I am a believer. I will give my life to him because he's given his life to me so many times. When it was totally unbearable for me to even want to continue, he was my savior who allowed me to continue. When I walk out this door each and every single day, I walk out feeling quite protected because he gave me 24 hours and I give him an hour every day of my life. And I'm very thankful. I am not, I'm privileged. I know that I'm privileged. I know each and every single time that I sit and I talk in front of people like yourself, it ain't me. It's not me. I know it's him. He carries my conversation. He brings me back to my point. He delivers me where I need to be delivered. He helps me in that bank. He helps me in my house. He is all of what I live for. That's all I have. I have no more than God.
100 years from now, who was Angelo Ellerbee?
Oh, wow, that's a stumper. I think 100 years from now, Angelo Ellerbee would be remembered as a young man who took no nonsense, who cared about people, wanted the best for people, and one of the most misunderstood people on the face of this earth, but came with a contribution. And whatever that contribution was for that time, he gave of it.
Mr. Ellerbee, you've been a delightful conversation to
It's my
talk
pleasure.
to, and certainly want to stay
My
more
pleasure.
involved with
Thank you.
whatever
Thank you
I
very
can do to
much.
help.
I appreciate
It's really
you.
been a pleasure.
My pleasure.
We'd like to thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you again.
My pleasure.
All right.